Hello guys, my name is Hovo. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video tutorial about hard surface modeling. We have two topics today. First of all, what for add-ons I use, and the second part will be about beveling, how to bevel, when to bevel, why to bevel for subdivision modeling. For clearing out the questions out there, some of you guys has a question about bevel, and now today we're gonna clear out these questions. First of all, we're gonna start out with modifiers, with the add-ons that I use very often. Some of them are paid and some of them are free. We're gonna start out with the free ones. Go to preferences, add-ons, and then we can start with loop tools. Loop tools, it's for the edit page. If we're gonna like the plane, subdivide, inset, circularize, you can do a lot of stuff. And then you can also, G-stretch for stretching out some edges. And then we have also relax that I use very often. And then we have space and some other stuff here. And you can also like use flatten. Call this here flatten, and you can even it out like this. And the next one I want to show you is also included in Blender, that are the extra objects and extra curves. That answers itself because you have more objects for using, like the round cube I use very often, the torus, sometimes also the gears and stuff like that, diamonds, very cool. And the curve one I use very often is the spiral here. You can do very crazy stuff with this. You can change its height, you can change the radius, you can change how it grows, steps, and stuff like this. Comes very handy. And then we have some other add-ons that are not included in Blender. Finish up there. And one add-on that I use also in Blender is the modifier tool. The modifier tool is very handy when I like Q sharpen, Q bevel, 3 for iframe, and then add Control 2 or Shift Q for solidify. Then you have like stuff. Sometimes you have it like this. And then for organizing them, you can click here, toggle stack. Then we have all the modifier organized for you. And you can also delete them all, you can apply them all, you can turn off or turn on the visibility in the viewport, like here, and on. It's very handy. Okay, delete them all, remove all modifiers. And then we have some that are free ones. Guys, all the add-ons that I use here are the links in the description below, but I don't go very deep in them. If you wish, you can tell me in the comments. Then I can make a video about the add-ons that I use for subdivision modeling and going deeper. But for showcases, I'm gonna show you only the basics. And then we have an add-on called offset extrude. This comes sometimes handy because sometimes Alt S, E, Alt S doesn't work like here. You can see it's not even. You need to check this. It's not gonna make it even. Why? Sometimes I don't know why. The normals are crazy and this is not gonna work. So what you can do with this add-on, you're gonna take it, Control E, offset extrude. Now we are there. This is very, very handy. I use it very often for extruded inner or outer edges. It's very, very handy because the normals are right way and you can offset extrude them. And then we have set flow. If you guys have an object like this and then you scale it out, Control B, like this, and you delete one of them, you can see clearly curvature or damage. That's not the right way. If I add an edge loop here, you can see it's not going to work. What I can do is scale, but this is not gonna work. I can check here, set flow, and then now we are back to the form that we are establishing before. These are the free one. And then we have also box cutter, hard ops, quad remesher, curve array, and confirm object, and also cable arrator. Hard ops I use very often for like Q sharpen, bevel, solidify, and mirror. It's very, very easy to mirror something about an angle. You can see, guys. And this is not the case here. You can work live. If you like, you can also symmetrize or directly applying the modifier. You can remove this. And then you have a symmetry that you can work. And then we have box cutter. Box cutter I use very often for also drawing shapes, like with polygon draw. You can draw some crazy stuff. Then you can modify after. This is too much. Okay. And then the quad remesher, sometimes, not every time, but sometimes it comes handy. For remeshing it, for clearly see the edge flow for this object. We can go with adaptive size of 0 and then use normal splitting. 5000 phase is too much. You can go over like 1000. Okay, remesh, and there we are, guys. You can see very, very clean, very, very good topology. The edge flow are not so good because sometimes you have edges that are not flowing the way do you that you like, but sometimes makes a good job, and you can start off with this and cleaning out some edges and redirecting some edges, and then you can go further. And then we have also the curve array. This comes handy when you need to array some objects around the curve or around this object here. It's a very good add-on, and you can do very advanced stuff here. But guys, if you wish, you can buy this and then you can try it yourself out and figure out yourself what we can do with this. What I do often with this add-on is I use it for tank tracks or like chains or like stuff like that that I need to deform with the curve, and then this add-on comes very handy. And then we have confirm object. Confirm object is an add-on. Then you can like bevel this, and then you need like a bolt that's confirming around this bevel here. You can take the object and then confirm it around this bevel here, but this I don't use very often. And then we have also the cable eraser. The cable eraser is a cool, very cool add-on. You can do it very advanced stuff with this. And if we do like this here, Shift D, duplicating it, and then Q, create cable, then we can point out where the cable needs to go, and then we can very cool stuff with this, like we can also modify them. We can change the scale, can do a lot of stuff in there. But guys, if you wish a more depth tutorial about these add-ons, let me know in the comments below. Okay guys, these are the add-ons that I use very often. And then we're gonna the topic of today is a bevel. We take cubes, 3 of them, Shift D, GX, Shift D, GX, and then we take also cylinder. This is too much segments. Cylinder with 24 is enough. Okay. Now first we start out with a normal bevel. You can go in the preferences, go to hard ops, and then you can go to the properties, hard ops properties. Why is this crazy here? Okay. Then you can change in the properties. I use this way. When I do Q and sharp, it marks me only the weight of bevel of 1, factor of 1, and then I change it to 2 segments, the profile to 1. The rest I leave it like this. And then you can also mark and sharp. You can see here. You can add creases, you can add seams, you can add sharp. You can change the angle of the sharpness and the crease. But I leave it most of the time 30. You can, after the Q sharp, you can manually change also the angle of the bevel or weight or crease. When it comes handy, it's when you need to unwrap something, you can change it very easily from bevel weight to seam, and then you can mark a seam of a degree of 30 or 60, whatever, and then you automatically have seams around the sharp corners. But we need only today this bevel weight. This is the two parts that I changed for me, and every time I save the preferences, because sometimes Blender doesn't react when we change something in the modifier tab. Okay, now bevel. When I click to Q and sharp, what's here are changed. You see clearly we have marked all edges that are 30 degrees with a bevel weight of 1. If I bevel it now with 3 segments with a profile of 5, just a little bit the bevel. Profile of 5, adjusting it. Okay, you can see you can use this very easily with very low poly object and a smooth corner. We can use this for props, for stuff that are not going to be bent or modified, or like explosions, deform, like something like this. Stuff like that, you don't need to go more than this with the bevel. Then we have the standard subdivision way. Q bevel 3 for wireframe with a 2 segment bevel. We have here 2 segments. You don't need more than 2 segments around a corner here. This edge is a structural edge. If we want to have a sharp edge on this here, we need minimum 2 edges around them that sharpen up the corner. So we add a 2, then we can control 2, and then we have a subdivided cube with sharp corners, the bevel weight of 1, and segments of 2. But this is sometimes it's good enough if you want to add details very straight and very close around the corners. You can see it's very good. You can see it's even distributed quads. It's okay. But sometimes when we duplicate this here, Shift D, and then you can see it clearly. The bevel that we added are stretched around the object here. If I add an edge here, you can clearly see it's gonna change how the bevel reacts to the edges. So, what that mean? If I remove this edge, I often also subdivide it 1 or 2 times. Shift R for repeating the last operation. You can see it clearly. If we're gonna optimal display this, you can clearly see how it reacts to the bevel that we added. It doesn't gonna stretch out the bevel. And what I like to do sometimes is add another edge after the bevel for tightening it up more. You can see it now. We have very tight bevel, very even distributed edges, very even distributed quads, and the bevel that we added don't stretched up around the object. So you can see it really good here. If I take this edge here and I gonna change the way that's are distributed, you can see clearly how the bevel reacts to this edge here. If I gonna remove this, you can see it clearly. It's stretched out around this corner to this corner, around this edge to this edge. Okay, guys. For this method, I like to do it like this. This is too much. Okay. Then can I select the two cursor, and then I can symmetrize it around all the axes. Then we have a cube that's solid, it's very evenly distributed, and we have sharp corners. What you have if I have a cylinder? It's applies the same method applies here to a cylinder. We're gonna sharp it, we're gonna bevel it with bevel width of 1 and 2 segments and the profile of 1. And you can see clearly if I subdivide it, we have the same problem. We have very often here a shading issue because this edge, this beveled edge gonna stretch out around the object because we don't have very even distributed faces and edges. So if I add a loop cut here, you can see one loop change it all, but this is not enough. What I like to do, add a loop, and then after this I bevel and then add more segments like this, and then we can also inset this and then unmark these edges, delete these faces. Okay, and then we can Control F, grid fill, change the offset, simple banding, cursor to selected, Alt X, and symmetrize. You can see it. Okay. When we remove this edge, you can see clearly how it changes and how the bevel reacts to the object. You can see it clearly. If I add an edge like here, you can see it, how that reacts to the object, because we are losing the tightness of the edge that are controlling how the bevel are reacting to the edge. So guys, this was a quick tutorial about beveling. You can see it's very easy. You can save very much time with these add-ons that I use, because guys, 24 hours is 24 hours, you don't have more, and if you can save some time, it's very good, and it doesn't clear out the questions. Please let me know in the comments if you don't understand what I say because of my English. Let me also know in the comments below. And some bonus tip after I can show you. I use some special mat caps that are also free, links in the description below. You can see from for soft image, you can have from 3ds Max, you can have from Cinema 4D, you can have the black font from Maya, and I like use soft image or 3ds Max. It's also very good. And see you soon.